Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Mr. here. Today I'm back with a brand new video. This is my updated deck profile for Scarlet Witch Coco. So as you all know, I very recently published a deck profile, and now I'm doing the updated version because very recently we got a support from Vbt05, and it's quite unfortunate because I just released it and then now there's support, so now I have to update it again. So anyways, here we go. So first on the deck, we play 4 copies of Scarlet Witch Coco. Coco's skill, you all would already know. When placed on top of a grade 2, draw a card. The second skill is Count Blast 1, Soul Blast a grade 3. Count Blast 1, Soul Blast a grade 3. Draw 2 cards. Discard as many witch cards as you want, and then add as many protect markers as you want. Now this is special because it doesn't have to be, the witch cards you discard do not have to be part of the 2 you drew. It also counts if you have any witch cards in your hand and you want to discard it. We also play 3 Wisteria with Zozo. Zozo's skill is, when she attacks, for every imaginary gift protect marker you have in your hand, this 3 units in your front row gain +5. Now the key word is for every imaginary gift protect in your hand, which means protect 2 doesn't count. And that's also the reason why we play Zozo, because we are focusing on a more defensive build, and therefore Zozo will be able to make small offensive pushes for us. Therefore it is more beneficial to play Zozo. If you are planning on playing protect 2 to begin with, you should not really play Zozo because there's not much value for her. Oh, and the other skill is when her attack hits, Count Blast 1, draw a card. Next up, 1 copy of a new grade 3 witch. This is Brain Witch Popo. The skill is, when she attacks, if your deck has 10 or less cards, gain 10k and your opponent cannot guard with grade 0. So there's a guard restrict and it's a +10. It's used, I use it very rarely, but it's just used because this is a defensive deck, so you are likely to draw cards a lot. So when you have low on cards, you can just give them a little bit more pressure than normal with this card. And that's it for grade 3s. Grade 2s, we want this witch 12k beater, just 2 because she has no shield value and she has 12k, so she is a strong right target. But the thing is, even though she has no shield value, you can discard her for, you know, protect markers, so that's probably the drawback that you want. However, I don't play so many because you'll see why. She is an ideal right target, and another ideal right target is this one, Topaz Witch PP. This is from the original VBT03 in standard. So the skill is you have 4 more cards plus 2k continuously. When rolled upon, Soul Blast 1 and draw a card. So this is the main right target to help you stack cards real fast in hand. If not, this card really becomes really useless. There's no other skill that you want to use for this card, so you might as well just trade it for a protect marker. Next up, we have 3 copies of Yellow Witch Mimi. Mimi's skill is, when placed, look at the top card, put it back on the top or on the bottom. So mini Tsukuyomi like skillish, and it's a witch, so yeah, why not? Only applies on rear guard. This is an interesting one. 3 rectangle Magus, and yes, there are some Maguses in this deck. The skill is Count Blast 1, Soul Blast 1. When placed, look at the top 2, put 1 in your hand and 1 back to the top of the deck. So this really helps for the deck filtering a lot faster than Mimi, and really this is just such a good defensive play as well as offensive play to set up your triggers well. You can gamble a bit more even, and technically speaking, you can also selectively draw, which is one of the reasons why this card must be very good, and it is quite good. The other skill is, anytime you pull a trigger, reveal a trigger, this gains +5. So there you go. And I just want to mention for this card, there is another good effect. I used to play Promised Daughter in this card slot, but I can see why this card is better than Promised Daughter. Promised Daughter sure has the immunity effect and a continuously +6 to hit magic numbers, but really this card's ability to selectively draw and set up for a turn is good, as well as the fact that if you pump a trigger, it gains +5, which its own skill can help you set up. So if you pull a trigger, you can gain something like 15k on a unit or 10 and a +5 separately. Either way, this card is still pretty good. And that's just for one trigger. If you pull 2 triggers, she gives herself her own +10, which is quite amazing. And you have 2, the skill triggers twice, so both will gain, well, +5 each. That wraps it up for grade 2. Next, we move on to grade 1. I'm sorry, there was a disturbance outside. So next one is for Witch Perfect Guards, because now they are Witch Perfect Guards. So the skill is when placed, drop and draw. But other than that, it's a Perfect Guard and it's a Witch, so yeah, why not? We play 2 15k shield blocks just for the extra shield value, and it's a Witch. It's one of the newer witches, so why not? Yeah. Oopsie. We play 2 QL Magus from the trial deck also. The skill is when placed, look at the top 2 and rearrange the top 2 in any way you want. So this is really good for the ride, for the first target ride. So when you ride, you can, well, selectively draw with the starter. Starter is here. So you can selectively draw. You can choose which activation to start first though. So if you want to draw first, then swap, that's up to you. You want to swap first, then draw, it's also up to you. You can also use it on rear guard just for a quick check, and you can rearrange. Although I will say it's quite useless once you reach like grade 3, because even if you rearrange the 2 cards, you're still going to get the 2 cards, if you get what I mean. But then again, I could see some benefits in it, such as getting a great draw trigger for the first one, so you rearrange it to the second one, and then you get the extra draw. So there are some benefits, but in the late game, this is relatively more limited. Next, we play 3 Oracle Guardian Gemini. Skill Gemini is, well, if you have 3 more damage, move this to the soul, counter charge. Very good. It gives itself its own soul charge as well as a counter charge, which I think helps this deck float through resources pretty well. Next, we have 4 of this very cute Sprout Rich Roro. Her skill really is kind of like an infinite loop sort of thing. Her skill is Cow Blast 1, move her to the soul. After the attack she boosts hits, draw a card. So that's one. The second thing is Soul Blast. When a grade 3 Witch rides, you can call this card from the soul to the rear guard. So you have a bit of Pale Moon and a bit of the classic OTT. And technically speaking, as long as you have enough resources, you can keep using this girl over and over and over again, which I think is just insane. The only problem is, of course, resource management, so you have to be careful on that. Last but not least, trigger lineup. We play 4, 8, 10 crits. So yeah, 10 crits. This is the new crit from Vbt05. 10 crits. 2 draws. This is a budget deck, so we don't have the privilege to play draw PG. But then again, because the Witch is already a PG, so I don't mind playing regular draws and 2 extra crits. Your crits is what you rely on for a little offensive push, and we also play, well, for heal. So yeah, this wraps up this updated Scarlet Witch Coco. This is the starter. And we play Protects. So yeah, that wraps up this Scarlet Witch Coco deck profile. Really fast, because I've done this deck very recently, so there's not a lot of explanation. I highly recommend that you watch the other video if you want more in-depth go through for this deck, but this is for the more updated build, because I was asked how does this deck improve, and I did promise that this deck would have a list soon, so well, yeah, this is the list. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know. Was this updated list up to your expectation? Well, I built it more around the Witches variant as well as more defensively. The original build was just meant to be, well, an all-rounder. It could do everything. But in this build, especially due to the meta we're currently in, I wanted to focus more on more defensiveness. Sure, when you come against Nubatama, you can't bother about stacking your hand. You might want to just rush him out, just use Zozo and just keep whacking him for insane numbers as high as possible with your protect markers. That's really what you gonna have to do, honestly, and just pray that your crits help you out. But other than that, I really designed this deck around a more defensive potential because I sincerely think that's what this deck is, well, supposed to do. That's what OTT is supposed to do, that's what witches are supposed to do. So I built it around that deck vision in mind, that this is a defensive deck. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all next time.